Welcome to Ruby's hackathon session series of data analytics. I'm the host of today. I'm Dom Ting from AWS migration team. So 80% of above blockchain players are now using AWS services to start and run business. Today, we invite BD from Footprint Analytics, the integrated blockchain analytics platform, to give us a presentation about how to choose a data provider for a web3 project. If we have a website or application that handles NFT or blockchains, we have two options. First, you can directly display data to users on your platform to maintain their participation in the website or application, or otherwise you can use link and jump to other website. For sure, we'll select option one to reflect the business trend, but displaying a data chart on the website while allowing the platform to bring higher value to users. So actually, Footprint Analytics will give us the view and experience about how to integrate and use a ready-to-go APIs and to help you to do the data analytics on the chain. So welcome, BG.
All right. Thank you, Rebase community, for a possibility to talk. It's a great opportunity to be here, and I'm very happy about bringing up some complex topics to talk about. So as I know, my colleague Orange was previously giving a lecture on Footprint website. So I'm going to be covering another part of what we're building at Footprint, and that's the API. So some beautiful animations here. So the contents of my presentation are basically split in three forms. I'm going to be giving an introduction to indexes. I'm going to be mentioning the indexer pipelines, and I'm going to be advocating why database as a service, DaaS, would be probably the most convenient solution for you as a project who is starting building in Web3. It doesn't matter what exactly you're trying to build, whether it's NFT or there's something from the GameFly domain or DeFi. All right, the animation is a little bit broken. So at the end of the day, the blockchain is a decentralized system, and in order to extract data from there, one will have to connect to one of the nodes of this decentralized system. Once the connection is done, you're basically able to fetch the data from the blockchain in a raw form, and consequently do everything what you want with it. So this is one of the goals that indexers are doing, and after the data is being handled, it could be saved as a raw data, and it could be used as a raw data. But the problem is that it may not be enough for you, because basically blockchain is storing every transaction that is being performed within the system. And if you really want to, as a project who is just starting in a space to bring value and not the infrastructure, and trying to basically decode and get the data that exactly what you need, then you're going to be dealing with a lot of raw data filtering and consequent aggregations and many different sophisticated things that you're not probably going to be interested in doing, because it's takes a lot of time and heart. So and after, let us focus on an example of probably NFT Gallery. When you handle the raw data, you basically have to extract the just NFT transfers or NFT orders or anything related to NFTs that are needed within your project, and consequently use this abstracted data within your project. So you will serve it to probably yourself. And why raw data is not enough, basically. So we got different blockchain implementation, which are having a common technology called blockchain at the button, but and the implementation may be different. So let us take a simple example of the difference between Bitcoin and EVMs. Bitcoin have UTXO and isn't really enabling the building of the business logic on the blockchain. EVM brings the business logic implementation in the form of smart contracts. So one could basically write any smart contract which will implement any logic, and it will also be based on the blockchain, and the finality will be showed by the blockchain. Whereas in Polkadot, for instance, Polkadot Kusama, the business logic is implemented within a blockchain runtime. There's so-called pallets there. So they're trying to bring the smart contracts within the ecosystem, but it's not really a native implementation for Polkadot. So what I'm trying to say is that when you're building something on the blockchain, and if you want to build something cross-chain, for instance, on both those two examples, like any VM chain or Polkadot altogether, you're going to be dealing with raw data, which is different by its nature. So you have to write basically two implementation for each of the chains, and you will have to basically extract, like in this particular case in NFT Gallery, all the NFT related transaction, like 2 times in different implementation. It's hard. So yeah, so that's why we're in the market. Yeah, let us quickly like go through a comparison matrix, like what could be your steps if you are trying to build something in the Web3 space. And as a indexer, you could probably use a blockchain explorer. So I guess many of our listeners are already familiar with the website called FSCAN, where you can basically like search any transaction or any block or any address and see the overwhelming data about like any specific entity. It's quite easy to use and this is well integrated, but it has some disadvantages. It mostly focuses on raw data. And as we have previously spoken, the raw data may not be enough for you as a project who don't want to deal with a lot of like raw data handling. It's not really customizable. So you cannot basically extend this block explorer so it has more data displayed and like served to you to your client application or something. It doesn't have a advanced search, so you're not able to use some sophisticated like searches on the blockchain based on specific parameters and filters. Yeah, and it's not really interactive. I'm going to be skipping the DS now and going to be going to own SDK. Yeah, there are many implementation of indexes, like turnkey indexes out of the box. Yeah, I guess one of the most famous one is the graph. So what is giving you? It's basically giving you an SDK, which you can configure yourself. So it index like specific events or specific transactions and consequently saves it to the database. And afterwards enables the API so that the client application, in our particular case, an NFT Gallery, could simply send the request there and be served. So yeah, it's like a proxy level, I would say. So yeah, proxy solution or something. So it's decentralized. So if you need a specific customized logic, you will have to run this SDK locally, and you will have to make the configuration by yourself, and you will have to maintain it. Yeah, and imagine like when you already parse, for instance, like 1 million blocks, and then you got a like one very cool feature request, and which implies the indexing of some additional chunk of data from the older blocks. You will have to do the whole reindexing from the beginning, and that's quite hard to do it and maintain. And I'm not mentioning even some technical challenges in implementation, for instance. And yeah, of course, it's pricey at the end of the day, but highly customizable because you're in charge of it. You got the source code and you can basically do as you want. All right. And the third option is third-party API database as a service, as we call it. It's easy to use. I see the comment in the chat. Or right, I'm going to be skipping it for now then. It's easy to use. It's good for advanced search if you're a good database service provider, of course. It's scalable because when the company is focusing on one particular, like let's call it like a data science like data science application for web3, then you can be sure that it's going to be of a good quality. It's reliable for the same reasons why I think I got a small spelling mistake here. Yeah, for the same reason why I've been mentioning for the scalability. But of course, it got some disadvantages. It could be dependable because you're basically are like trusting the third-party service to index the data and consequently return to you. It's limited in customization. Of course, it's like blazingly faster to customize your own SDK than ask it from another team to do it. And it's pricey. But if we're trying to find a balance between all of those three, the data API as a service would be a good way to go for you. And this is exactly what we're building at Footprint. We index the data from the different blockchains. We are supporting 22 blockchains for now, including Solana, major EVM chains, Wax, Flow, Bitcoin, even Dogecoin. So yeah, we consequently save this data as a bronze. Like this is, you can just think of it of the raw data. There is different raw data for different blockchains, so it may vary from different implementation. And consequently, within our ETLs, using different, I would say, triggers, we are stacking the raw data and aggregating it within the silver and gold tables. So it's basically like two-step abstractions. On the silver level, we're extracting for instance, we extract the NFTs, we extract different protocols, transactions. Like we're bringing the value, the like meaningful, I would say, names, and we're doing the filtering based on some most common use cases. And within the gold tables, we are mostly calculating the business metrics, which could be taken right away without like complex calculations and iterations of bronze or silver tables. This is stored within our set of databases and consequently served to our web app, which Orange previously, I guess, demoed you, which could be used by analysts. And the other interface is an API. This is what I'm showcasing here today. So that's about it. Let us also talk about the key features that good data API should do. It's of course should be easy to use and flexible, so it should find balance between two of those. Footprint's mission is basically about it. We are one of the first who have created the configurable search queries within the drag and drop interface, which itself is an abstraction over the SQL. So you can basically not lose any flexibility, and you're not required to have any technical preconditions like knowing SQL or any other querying languages to work without data. And we're trying to have the ecosystem approach within this case. So basically what I'm trying to say is every query that you're able to execute on the website, you can consequently execute via our API called SQL API. So you can take it, as you can see in this picture, you can see that we're sending a HTTPS request, which is in its body is having the SQL from the website. You consequently get a request, and you consequently use this data to basically build your NFT app. So this is a great, like, ecosystem-based achievement that we have already achieved, and we're so proud about it. But if you don't want to like use the website data and want to have even like lower barrier of entry to our API, we're also serving another type of data API called REST API. So you basically got a pretty self-explanatory naming for each endpoint that we're giving. So NFT transfers, NFT info, NFT attributes, all of it returns the consequent data, and you can build your NFT gallery based on it. So it's up to you to decide, but yeah, what's important to understand that every endpoint that you can query from the REST API, you can query from SQL API and from the website, of course. The other important feature is scalability. I don't want to get to the technical details here because I guess it's quite a long topic and deserve a separate session. But running the like most modern data stack, it's mostly open sourced to work with our data because yeah, those are like petabytes of data that we have to store and serve, and we have to plug a lot of client applications, including different sessions from the website. So it's really a sophisticated thing to build an architecture for something like this. So that's why we're using Trino and Iceberg. For reference, you can take Netflix, who is one of the pioneers of those. Iceberg is a format, Trino is a query engine. So Netflix was one of the first who implemented this architecture within their products. And the third important feature is compatibility. We're having the API, where every request is sent over HTTPS. We're not having an SDK maybe yet, because yeah, it's too language specific, and our APIs are yeah, as our APIs are HTTPS, they're compatible with the basically any programming language, and you can basically use every library that you find and use it within your favorite programming language and work with our API using any programming language. I guess that's about it. Thanks. Maybe there are any questions, and I saw something on the chat. All right. Maybe any questions, guys?
Yeah, actually, we have enough time because our next session will start at 10:30. So I will open with my question. AWS is also a web services providers, and then have a lot of presences in the global area, and then we share a lot of support as well to the end users, as well as the analytics who can be built on the Web3. So my question will be about that. You use a lot about the compatibility, scalabilities of the functions of the APIs we can share. So I would like to understand more about the extraction part, because in the traditional transformation from Web 2 to Web 3, there's a lot of things to be done besides the casuals. And then when they do the analytics, what kind of changes you think that would be most important for them to pay attention to?
What do you mean by extractions in particular?
I mean ATL.
Oh, so you want to know how do we build our ATL?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to give you like the exact details. We're planning to make the our code open source quite soon, so you're going to be seeing all there. But at the end of the day, everything implies those 4 steps. You get the data from the blockchain. It's either one of the nodes that we're running locally, but we're also using the node providers to basically not do all the heavy lifting, I would say. I don't remember for which chain exactly, but it's like a flexible approach that we're using. So this process is trivial for everybody. And afterwards, we just aggregate the raw data on different scenarios. So for instance, for silver tables, we just once we're saving something to the raw tables, we are basically filtering this. We're trying to understand whether this raw transaction belong to one of the silver tables that we've pre-composed. So for instance, NFT transfer. So NFT transfer is a transfer method called within NFT smart contract. So in the it's the most popular ways to implement it. Same with ERC20. It's transfer method within a contract which is using the ERC20 token interface. So once we're seeing that the raw transaction is of this type, made from the smart contract which is implementing the ERC20 interface, we can understand that this is something that we can bring up to the silver level, and we save it to ERC20 transfers or something. So different scenarios. And regarding the gold tables, I would say that usually we are doing the asynchronous calculations based on specific schedule. For instance, once in 1 day or once in 3 hours, once in 15 minutes. We just do it on the schedule. Maybe did I answer your question, or should I expand some other aspects as well?
Yeah, I think this is a very good illustration of the steps from bronze to silver and gold. I think it illustrates the different steps and also the significance and importance of the data, because the gold will be the one that of great importance to our analytics. So my next question will be about the smart contract. Because according to different users, the smart contract will be different. So how do you do the synthesis of the different smart contracts? Will you do some standardized one, or you just have to personalize and then do customization for each one?
What do you mean by synchronizations? Or
I mean the synthesis. It's like a standard protocol or a standard one, or over different smart contracts. The smart contract will be different according to different users, right?
When
you extract into the silver part, you need to do the synthesis, right? It's like you do a standardized one instead of a personalized one.
Of course. There are different set of rules that we're applying for each check of whether smart contract belongs to a certain category. So let's come back to your ERC20 smart contract. So those are usually the smart contracts which should have the transfer method, mint method, owner, some specific properties. So in our case, we are seeing that the transaction is initiated from this smart contract. We're checking whether this smart contract which initiates this transaction is having this sets of properties. If it meets our condition, then we're seeing that this is ERC20, and then we're bringing up. So we're using the standardized approach, but we also are actually today and next week we'll be announcing the smart contract decoding functionality, so that you can basically write your own smart contract and provide us the ABI so we can record it. We'll consequently record all the events, and you will be able to analyze your smart contract without digging into the raw data. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. I think the smart contract is the most important for I think the users, because they are testimonial of their users, right? So my next question will be about the cross-chain parts, because when we talk about the cross-chain, there's a lot of information on the asks about the security. So what do you do and in the security part to reduce the risks potentially that will trigger when you do the analytics?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we are providing just a read-only API, so you're not able to execute the transactions via our API yet. So the security is not really a first priority issue for us, because we just have to index the blockchain. We have to aggregate the data so it's easy to use, easy to find, and easy to group maybe. And just return it to the users. So yeah, so the security is not an issue for now, I guess.
Okay, good to hear that. And I noticed that we have a lot of on-chain data already. Almost all main public chains already being incorporated into your data source, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So because we see a lot of layer 2 chains will also coming up. So do you have this kind of plan to incorporate all the layer 2s or the new ones into your data source as well? Or the other functional chains or some privacy chains? Yeah.
Well, this is a very good question. Of course, we're taking a look at these directions. Yeah, every different chain, every different, some layer 2 solutions are usually based on some sophisticated technologies. So let us mention the optimistic rollups or zero knowledge proofs. This is something that is not trivial within our pipeline yet, and with the growing, of course, and we're expecting it to grow within our team. We are planning to do a very strict emphasis on the layer 2 for the future, within the near future, I would say. Regarding the private chains, it's different, and but we are basically when we're planning our roadmaps, of course, we're doing our metrics on the we're making our decisions based on the market condition, and yeah, I cannot give you any insights for now about any private chains. So which chains are you interested in particular?
Yeah, I think that some layer 2 chains or some functional chains also widely used is I see notice here is we already have flow here. What about the language of move? Do you have any plan or the other functional chains?
What do you mean by language move? Maybe this is something that I don't know.
Or, yeah. Like Aptos?
Yeah. So we already passed flow, as you can see. So maybe I'm not really familiar what do you mean by language of moves. So could you please elaborate?
Okay. See, another language that can be used to illustrate. So do you familiar with the other chains like Aptos or SUI, SUI? So
SUI, not really, to be honest.
Not really. Okay, no problem. So I noticed that in your expanding, you have 3 ways to get all this data into your platform. The first is iframe, the other is widgets, and the next API. So today you mostly focused on API. So do you think the other 2 would be what's the significance of these 3? Or maybe API is the most important one, or you want to promote most? Yeah.
Oh, well, I think different, there is no simple answer for every particular case that a company may face. So I would say that if you are a project, you would probably want to have your own visualizations and not having it as a widget from our website, because you'll probably want, at least you want to like maintain your style. And if you're working with the raw data, then you can simply aggregate it and visualize like in any form that is like fitting your style. But if you are a I don't know, a media company, for instance, and you don't want to spend a lot of resources on this, you can simply like embed any chart as a widget on your website with actually like 2 clicks of the button. So that's an answer. So different segmentations, different solutions for different segments. Yeah.
Okay, great. I have another question. I noticed from the audiences from the chatbot. The question is about, could you show some real case how to use footprints? Yeah.
Real case. So I can show you the ready-made web app, which is built on top of our API, and it's like solely built on our API, just to basically showcase the use case for it. I'm not really familiar with which one, whether it's REST API or SQL API, but at the end of the day, as already told, those are completely like could be like used vice versa and replaceable. So you can calculate the market cap via the API. You can get the market cap by specific like collections, again via our API. You can search for specific collections and see most important metrics about each one. You can dig into the specific collections and check the details of every collection. Sorry, is being loaded now. Quite a heavy query that has to be done.
It's your club, yeah.
Again, it's all built on our data API. So yeah, you can make the filtering. You can see even the specific NFTs. So it's really like from up to button, like covering whole levels of how to say of details.
Information. Yeah, you want
exactly.
all the information.
So from NFT market to specific NFT. That's about it.
What about GameFly? I think GameFly is also an important part of your business, right? Not only NFT. Do you have specific region for GameFly as well?
As far as I'm concerned, we don't, but let me double check. GameFly check.
GameFly. Okay.
No, maybe it's something that we really have to build, like as a showcase. But at the end of the day, what's important to understand is like every query that you can see on the website could be used within the app. So you can take it as a raw data. So this is a query, for instance. I take random one. You are opening it. It's being loaded for some time. You press the advance, and you can see a small button here, which is a view the SQL code button. You can copy with this text. You can go afterwards to our API. It could be accessed via docs.footprint.network. API reference, SQL API. As I said, we got REST API and SQL API. Then you select the SQL API and you simply enter your SQL API here, and it's being executed. It will not execute in my case because I'm not authenticated here. So I don't have a API key yet. So but anything from the website could be reused. But of course, thank you for the tip. I think we're going to be doing a similar GameFly, I would say not gallery, maybe a website or just showcase product as we're having with NFTs. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And I noticed that GameFly NFT and analytics also important tab in your mainframe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what the analytics about?
Analytics is just a link to our blog.
Information. Okay.
Yeah.
Dashboard. Okay.
Basically anything. We got different newsletters, and we are doing some regular technical interesting articles. We have like actually one of our recent collaborations is with the CoinMarketCap, where we had the like one of the top views for the whole week. So because we really tried to like dig into the details, and we came up with a great quality project, with a great quality article. So you should definitely subscribe to our blog if you haven't done it yet. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I noticed that you have just applied I think it's a seed round, right? The seed round investment financing led by Matrix Partners, right?
Yeah. I'm not really familiar with it, but as far as I'm concerned, yes, it is how it.
Yeah, it's very spectacular, right? To get their continuous funding and in this environment and circumstances, yeah, during the COVID, yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Yep, I have some questions for BG.
Okay.
Okay. As we know, there are a lot of tools and platforms for data analytics, and as a Web3 tool, or as we say, is a Web3 platform. How can you implement Footprint as a decentralized surface, or is just a centralized surface?
Ooh, this is a great question.
Yeah, since we know the graph, you must know that one is quite familiar.
Of course.
Yeah, and they already migrate from the centralized mode to the decentralized mode.
Yeah.
So what is your plan for the Footprint?
It's of course in our roadmap, and it's quite a hard question to answer, because first of all, as a somebody who's working in the Web3, especially with data, with petabytes of data, you really should like you're always, when you're trying to work with decentralization, I guess will probably lose in the performance at the end of the day, and this is something that you really like have to choose once at some point. So currently we are mostly centralized, but we are growing in the direction of decentralization, because at the end of the day, this is like philosophically correct. Let's call it like so. So I can't give any like specific estimations where exactly will it be achieved, but I guess it's probably start with our query engine being open sourced, so you can basically use it like you're using the graph, for instance. Just pull the code, configure a bit, run, and it's starting to work. But for the further plans, I cannot tell you any insights. But like answering your question, of course, we're not neglecting the decentralization, and eventually we're planning to grow there also. Did I answer your question, or maybe you get something following?
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. And so just get to know about the current status of Footprint. That would be okay. And another question is, as we know, there is another product similar like Footprint. It's named as Web3 Go. So do you know that one? And also, there is another. Also, there is already a very, very mature product named Dune. So what is the difference between Footprint and those other products?
Yeah, so I think I don't want to mention any specific brand or names, but I'm gonna give I'm going to give you the key features of what Footprint is having. So when you're on a website and you press the create button, you're seeing two different options. You're seeing create a new chart, or you can use an SQL query. So many popular big solutions are either allowing you to have a SQL query, which is like a very flexible interface to get the data that you want, but it's not really easy to use, like especially for analysts who are not having any, technical prerequisites and technical knowledge in SQL. Like take the same marketing team of certain protocol, for instance. I don't believe that somebody would want to learn SQL from the beginning just to be able to get the insights. What we're having at Footprint is a chart creator via the drag and drop interface. It's different from other solutions because it's still flexible. The other solutions are usually offering you the hard-coded, not flexible scenarios. For instance, I don't know, top NFT collections or latest NFT order book orders or something. But what we're having at Footprint, you can do anything you want without the knowledge of SQL. Let's take the NFT transactions, for instance. You access the advanced tab. You can apply any filter that you want. Let us apply actually we will search for the previous day's blocks. We can then summarize the filter data. We can calculate how many transactions, NFT transactions, were yesterday. And we can additionally group it by, let's see, by chain, for instance. And when we visualize it, let us please load it for some time. You can see the distribution of NFT transactions by every chain. And so what I'm trying to say is, I guess Footprint is one who found the balance between the easiness of use, because I haven't used a single line of code to do it, and the flexibility. That's how we're different.
Okay, great. The third question, is there any way to customize our own script to analyze the raw data? I mean the raw transactions, since our contracts are not the standard contract like ERC20 or like an NFT, so we just write our own contract. How can we analyze our own contract? Is there any entry where we can input or write some script to analyze our raw data?
Yes, soon first of all, you can analyze your raw data here on the website already. Second step, you will be able to send the ABI of your smart contract. We'll decode it, and it will be available under, I don't remember the name of the tables. Like chain decoded events table. And the third step that we're also about to release is exactly what you're talking about. You'll be able to write the flexible ETA logic on our platform. So the tables that you indicate will be visible here.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Frozen, for your question. Okay, and thanks, BG, for your answers. As there's still some minutes left, I have some further questions to ask. And because, I noticed that we actually have a lot of coverages beyond the NFT, the GameFly, and then I see another business line would be forecasting. I see a lot of news and forecasts published by Footprint Analytics about Polkadot. So do you have any view about the Polkadot ecosystem? Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big question, right? Yeah, let me concentrate to detailed ones because Polkadot actually now has 3 main parts. It's like parallelized lines or the bridges, right? So what do you think of the I think the security part, how to settle the problem security in the transactions between crossing lines?
Well, so once again, I want to claim that we are yet focused on read-only use cases, and this is question probably the answer to this question could be like subjective and not really like a part of what Footprint is doing, but I mean, like I think it's a great ecosystem which is doing some interesting movements, and it's secure, and I like that the people who are leading the ecosystem are having the scientific backgrounds in software engineering and computer science. So it's not about noise and hype. Let's call it like this. But yeah, maybe did I answer the question, or should I add anything specific?
So for my understanding, it's like we may focus on APIs, and then we settle the standardized protocols or the standards that to make sure that security would not be a problem in transactions between lines, right? Crossing lines. Yeah.
I mean, if we're building the new standards within Polkadot, so what's a bit different about the Polkadot? It's built on different primitives. So there are no, like I would say, the smart contracts in Polkadot is not a native solution that Polkadot was using from the beginning. So it's like a different, different architecture. And there's not going to be like ERC 721 like smart contract interface for in Polkadot. There is a Moonbeam, of course, one of the compatibility layers between EVM and Polkadot, which supports like Ethereum standards such as ERC20 or ERC 721. But if like Polkadot would want to build some native standards for NFTs, which is already done, then it's like gonna be different, like completely different. For us as a data indexer, it will be a like drastically different way to parse and aggregate this data. So like once somebody come with a great new idea, we really have to start understanding how it's implemented so that we can like give analytics on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I see there will be a lot of expansions of footprints about the more lines, more chains, I mean, and more APIs to the final users, end users
Exactly.
to, at large to expand your presences. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Oh, if there's no other questions, then we'll close this sharing. Thanks, BG, for your time and also your energies in answering all these questions. Curious about your business and technologies as well as the business cases.
Thank you. Very interesting questions. It was great to have an opportunity to talk to you. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you.